Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Titli's Busy Kitchen with me, Titli. Guys, let me give you a woman's perspective about Valentine's Day. You could do the cheap thing and send the object of your desire a card. What's this? I love you, be mine? Jerk can't even spell. You could take her out for a lovely meal and look longingly into her eyes all night. It's really nice here, isn't it? Will you stop staring at me? You're freaking me out. Or you could bake her a red velvet cake. For my red velvet cake, I've got 300 grams of sugar, 250 grams of plain flour, 125 grams of butter at room temperature, 250 ml of buttermilk, or if you can't get buttermilk, just use ordinary milk, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 2 eggs. Now when it comes to red food colouring, different brands have different properties when you bake with them. This well-known brand, for example, goes orange-brown when you try to bake with it. So I'm taking no chances. I'm using this concentrated red gel. I've got half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of vanilla essence, and for raising agents I've got a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of white vinegar. Begin by sifting together the salt, the cocoa powder and the flour. Then put to one side. Now mix together the buttermilk and the food colouring. I'm using just under half a teaspoon of the gel. If you're going to use a liquid food colouring, you'll need to use about 2 tablespoons of it. Just get the gel off the spoons. Then mix them together with a whisk. Well, that's red all right. Now put that to one side as well. Put the butter in a large mixing bowl and then beat it until it's soft, about 1 or 2 minutes. When the butter's soft, add in the sugar and beat it until it's light and fluffy. Should take 2 to 3 minutes. Now boss in the eggs one at a time. Make sure you scrape down the side of the bowl from time to time while you're mixing. Then add in the vanilla essence and beat that in too. Now we can start to add the flour and buttermilk. Start by adding about 1/3 of the flour mixture. Then add about half the buttermilk. Then half the remaining flour, the remaining buttermilk, and the last of the flour. Well, this batter is definitely red. Now, red velvet cake is a layer cake, and the problem is I've only got 1 cake tin. So I'm going to have to split this mixture into 2. And I'm going to bake each half separately. So I'll put this half to one side. While my oven is heating up to 175 degrees C, I'm going to lightly grease this cake tin. Then place a piece of baking paper in the bottom of the tin. Now I'll take half the cake mix and add in half the baking soda. Then I'll add in half the vinegar and mix that in. Then quickly pour the mixture into the baking tin. Spread it out fairly evenly. Then pop this into the oven at 175 degrees C for about 20 to 25 minutes until it's cooked. That's nicely risen. I'll just check it's cooked by putting a toothpick in. And it comes out nice and clean. So I'll now just leave this to cool for about 5 minutes. Now it's cooled a little, we'll turn the cake out of the tin. Peel off the baking paper. Then put this to one side and allow to cool. I've now washed, re-greased and relined my baking tin. I'll mix the remaining baking soda into the other half of the cake mix and mix in the remaining vinegar. Pour it into the tin. Of course, if you're posh enough to have 2 heart-shaped cake tins, you'd actually add all the baking soda and all the vinegar into the entire cake mix and then split the mixture between the 2 cake tins and bake the 2 halves together. Us poor people have to make do with what we've got. Right, now this half is going into the oven for about 20-25 minutes. Now that I've got the 2 layers for my cake, I'm going to allow these to cool completely. Now while the cakes are cooling, I'm going to make the cream cheese frosting for the outside and the layer in the middle. So I've got 500 grams of cream cheese, 600 grams of icing sugar, 125 grams of butter and half a teaspoon of vanilla essence. Put the cream cheese and the butter in a large bowl, then mix until smooth. When it's all nice and smooth, sieve in about 1/3 of the icing sugar. Sift in another 1/3. Then add in the last 1/3 of the icing sugar. And finally, add in the vanilla essence. Almost forgot it. We're now ready to assemble the cake. Take a nice big plate with a flat bottom. Put one of the cake layers on the plate. Spread on a layer of frosting. Put the second layer onto the first. Press it gently. Then cover the cake with the remaining frosting. Once your icing has set a little bit, you can decorate it with whatever message you want. There we are, perfect! Red velvet cake? I love you, be mine. I'll be anybody's for a red velvet cake. It's all red and velvety and stuff. No woman can resist a red velvet cake except perhaps those who are on a diet. You pays your money, you takes your choice. Join me next time in Titli's Busy Kitchen with me, Titli Han. Until next time, Khuda Hafiz. Khuda Hafiz.